2016, the elections, they're finally here. And let me tell you, they're scary. Uh, I'm pretty freaked out by the fact that in Michigan I can't vote on marijuana, even though I went out and petitioned and got lots of signatures. We were nullified by the Lansing oligarchy and Republican controlled, crooked, Democrat controlled legislative branch that basically neutered us, and so we're not going to be able to vote on it. The only thing we got to go there and vote for is actual people, and I'm not going to get on here and tell you who to vote for and who not to vote for and all that stuff. We got the two worst candidates in the history of presidential politics running for president. Nobody likes these candidates. In fact, there's a poll out today that says legal weed is more popular than Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And it just so happens that what you have is you got Clinton favorable rating of about 43.8. Trump's is looking like 34.7, and marijuana legalization is about 54%, depending on what poll you look at. New polls just came out today putting it at 60%, so more power to that. So anyway, what we do have to look forward to on November 8th is the weed elections. And that's big. So we have 9 states in play. That's the hugest thing that's ever happened in marijuana history, besides it being made illegal, of course. So what we have is we have Arizona, California, Maine, Massachusetts, and Nevada will decide on recreational marijuana. Arkansas, Florida, Montana, and North Dakota are looking at medical marijuana. And so far, all the the recreational states are polling pretty good. Let's look at. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the recreational states' proposals. You know what the actual proposal is. In Arizona, it would allow adults over 21 to possess 1 ounce of cannabis and grow up to 6 plants at home in an enclosed, locked space. Retail pot licenses would be capped at 10% of retail liquor store licenses, which is unfortunate. The sales are taxed at 15%. This initiative seems cumbersome, but it's probably better than nothing. And this one's pulling at like a flip of the coin. Now I'm reading from the Portland Mercury, and the writer is Vince Slawowski. So just in case I'm reading word for word from time to time, I don't mean to use his opinions, but I've read this and it kind of aligns with mine, so I'm really just trying to read you the proposal. California would allow 21 or older to possess 28.5 grams, roughly an ounce, of flower or up to 8 grams of concentrates. Adults could grow up to 6 plants at home. The initiative creates an astonishing 19 different licenses for pot-related activities, and recreational sales would be taxed at 10%. State residency is required for licensure, which is not exactly a good idea and possibly unconstitutional. Again, I'm reading this article. If it passes in California, it's probably game over for federal prohibition. And this one is polling at, quote, almost a done deal. Okay, in Maine, we have where we've seen reefer madness emerge as many of these other states. Maine would allow adults 21 to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana. Adults could cultivate 6 flowering plants and 12 veg plants at home. Retail sales would be taxed at 10%. Maine appears to have set this up nicely, and it's good to see an eastern state to get in on the action. This one's polling at slam dunk, despite all the reefer madness and, you know, Governor LePage acting like, marijuana kills people. Because, and especially small pets and children, if you eat those extra strong edibles, you might die. In Massachusetts, another eastern state out east, would allow 21 or over to possess an ounce of marijuana or 5 grams of concentrate. Adults could also grow up to 6 plants, but possess only 10 ounces at home. That's kind of weird. Last time I checked, I can get 10 ounces off of one plant. Anyway, nah, that's not true, but I mean, you can definitely, 6 plants, 10 ounces, that's some pretty small plants. Anyway, the sin tax is pretty low at 3.75%, which is on top of the state sales tax. However, the dreaded option for local bans is included, which could result in a patchwork of pro and anti-cannabis jurisdictions statewide. This one points at maybe yes, the polls are saying this is a pretty good chance it's going to pass. Last poll I seen, it was pretty neck and neck, but the factoring number was the undecideds, which if you even split the undecideds in half, then it passes. The undecideds have to go all the way for no for Massachusetts not to pass. I'm sorry, I might have confused Maine with Massachusetts on that last conversation a little bit about the polls. Last time I seen Massachusetts polls, yeah, it was pretty much a landslide. What I was talking about with the undecideds have to cross over all the way to the nose for it to fail, that was Maine. Maine is really neck and neck. If half of the undecideds go towards legalization, it'll pass. So I encourage people in Maine, if you're not enchanted enough to go vote for a president, and I don't blame you for that, then feel free to still go vote yes for marijuana. It's not going to hurt the cause. You don't have to vote for a president, or you can just write in your own name if you want. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I mean, if you stay home, you're not going to vote for a president either. But if you go to the polls and vote for marijuana and not for a president, you at least voted for marijuana. And finally, for the recreational, we do have Nevada, and they will allow adults 21 to possess up to an ounce of marijuana flower and a stingy eighth of an ounce of concentrates. Those who live further than 25 miles from a licensed store could grow up to 6 plants in a locked area. That's weird. I don't know about that. You got to live far away to be able to grow. But anyway, there will be no stores allowed in Las Vegas itself. That's not true. That's a just kidding that the author wrote. But yeah, that's mainly the reason that they're passing this law, is so that you can buy weed in Las Vegas, of course. And that's why you don't see Sheldon Adelson out in Las Vegas or out in Arizona in general putting up any money to fight the legalization effort there. Instead, you see Sheldon Adelson off in Maine and Massachusetts and these other places investing on the anti-marijuana legalization efforts there. It's ridiculous that, he's even doing that, but he's behind some of the reefer madness that they have to endure in those places, and it's pretty sad. So anyway, Nevada's actually polling really close. It's too close to call. And when I was talking about Arizona, it looks like it's going to pass or whatever. You got to remember, these are right-wing states. Arizona, I mean, they said flip a coin on this article. I'm saying maybe, maybe not. It could pass. It might not. Who knows? So now I'm going to go back over those states probably in a minute. But that was just the overview of their laws. I'm going to go back over what's going on right now in those situations. North Dakota, medical marijuana. There's not a whole lot of info online. I couldn't find a lot of articles about it, so I can't really say a whole lot about what I'm going to, what to say in North Dakota. It's just not written about very much, and I don't know the polling numbers. I think it's going to pass. Last time I heard someone talking about it, that's all I can say. All right. So then we have a rally in Helena. So Montana, their Initiative 182, which includes repealing some legislative restrictions on medical marijuana while requiring licenses licensing for providers participated in a rally at Hill Park in Helena on Wednesday. See, the thing is they have medical marijuana laws, and then they repealed some of them, and then they made a bunch of restrictions on stuff, and it's just a big mess. I think they have a lot of support for this. I'm just kind of scanning through the article. Sorry about the delays and the like pauses and just acting like I don't know what I'm talking about. But in general, all right, let's just go into these numbers here at the bottom of the article. In 2004, Montana voters passed an initiative allowing medical marijuana, which saw thousands register as patients, and dispensaries pop up across the state. 2011 legislation restricted providers to 3 patients each, prohibited advertising, and reviewed doctors that recommended the drug to more than 25 patients. After 5 years of legal battles, the Montana Supreme Court eventually upheld the law that went into effect in August. Now, if approved, it would lift the 3-patient limit for caregivers, establish licensing fees to pay for the administrating the program, require yearly inspection of providers, include post-traumatic stress disorders among the conditions for which medical marijuana can be used. For the 93% of medical marijuana patients that no longer have access, it would be a good thing. So anyway, of course, there's an opposition group called Safe Montana, because of course they're always called Safe this or whatever that. And of course they're here with their regular old reefer madness. In this case, they're saying the general public is not qualified to make medical decisions. Quote, it guarantees the failure of a program that may have potential success for patients who need medical marijuana under the doctor's care, and it ensures accessibility of recreational marijuana to the rest of the population. So he's their position is basically like, oh, if it's medicine, then it shouldn't just be in the hands of people on the ground growing it and distributing it at their dispensaries or what have you. But anyway, we're going to move on because I don't know a whole lot about Montana either, and I'm not really sure what's going on. But when you go to Florida, you have reefer madness, pot candy, and big pharma. That was the highlights from the marijuana debate there. I'm going to go through this real quick. I guess one of the first points that they tried to make in Florida at the debate was that, you know, it's this medical marijuana is de facto legalization of recreational marijuana. And basically, you know, the counter argument there is you can pretty much get weed anywhere you want. I mean, quit this argument about this is making recreational marijuana a thing. Recreational marijuana is already a thing. We already know it is. You had a 40-year-long drug war, and that didn't stop it at all. It made it like more, the marijuana today is more powerful and more potent, and more people have access to it than ever before. So quit acting like recreational marijuana is not a thing. And, you know, if you act like we can't make it a legitimate market for capitalist society, then what you're saying is that you're okay with the black market and everything that comes along with that. So quit being a hypocrite. Well, the debate had the health nerd Jessica Spencer on there, and she was debating United for Care's John Morgan. And it basically came down to a dispute over the same old reefer madness talking points that we're hearing over and over about the kids. It's about the kids. This is a constitutional amendment. It's not even written good. Blah, 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 blah. It's a predatory amendment. It preys on our compassion. She don't understand that basically Florida is already a medical marijuana state. It has been for a while. And they're just trying to legitimize it a little bit more and get it a little bit more out in the open so that, you know, people are out of the shadows and not worried about getting their doors kicked in and going to prison for providing medicine to people. So, again, Florida, this time it's going to pass. I guarantee it. I don't have that article anymore because he only was talking about recreational marijuana. Now I'm just going on other articles and I'm digging up. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Florida is a go. It's going to pass. Don't even worry about a thing. But before I go, I'm going to read a couple more tweets from the health nerd, Jessica Spencer. If Big Pharma wanted it, medical marijuana, they would have, already done it. Well, come on, man. If Big Pharma wanted it, no. Big Pharma don't want it. That's why Big Pharma was involved in making it illegal in the first place. And the reason they don't want it is because it's competition. It's something that, that they can't control because it can be grown in the ground by just about anybody. Anybody can grow this inside their own house now. So, of course, Big Pharma's not on board because Big Pharma, try as they may, cannot control it. And the 40-year-long marijuana war proved that nobody can control it. It's a weed, I mean, it cannot be controlled. So Big Pharma, of course, Big Pharma is not on board. Of course, here's another one, Jessica Spencer, on ad that medical marijuana will be packaged like candy marketed to kids. I wish it was fear-mongering. This is fear-mongering because it's not marketed to kids. It's just edible food. And adults, kids alike, like food. And food is, sometimes it's got sugar and stuff in it. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know, go quick over a couple things. California, it has opposition. There's different flavors of opposition, but whatever you got out there, California, you have the option to legalize marijuana, and it's a really good package. I don't see anything in there that would really piss anybody off in Michigan. I mean, the taxes, whatever. It's like, I don't see anything in here that I don't like. I'm looking it over. I've been looking it over. I hear the opposition. Most of it's reefer madness. They're talking about the kids. Concerns about the youth, there's always concerns about the youth, but like I've been saying, that the marijuana is already out there. What are you going to do about it? Keep letting illegal black markets control it? That don't make any sense. So it's going to create jobs. It's going to create tax revenue. No recreational sales. They already made 2.8 billion in this year, and if they approve 64, they're thinking they might jump that up to 4.3 billion in 2018 and 6.5 billion by 2020. So what you're going to do, California, is when you legalize, you're going to make it so most of the other states observing are not going to be able to have a choice anymore but to legalize. More reefer madness. Discount Tire contributed $1 million in the campaign against an Arizona ballot measure to legalize marijuana. Scottsdale-based Discount Tire funneled the money into a group called Responsible Drug Policy in opposition to Proposition 205. Oh, I'm not good with numbers tonight. I am so sorry. I hope everybody can bear with me. I'm just having a really hard time reading through all this crap. And you really know where I stand on all this. And I just have to just kind of scan through these articles for facts or anything that might matter. It's not, there's no telling why the tire manufacturer is so concerned, but it might have something to do with the billionaire that owns it, or the founder and chairman, Bruce Halley. To me, he just sounds like a right-wing Christian that's just against marijuana. Just typical bullshit. Straight up. Nevada, go for it. What else do we have here? Tourism is what they're looking at. They're like Jamaica. They want some marijuana tourism mixed in with their regular tourism. I don't know. Well, it's a tight one in Nevada. It's a tight one in Arizona. Massachusetts, not so tight. Marijuana has a 15-point lead in Massachusetts among likely voters. So get ready for legalized marijuana in Massachusetts. No problem. I know earlier I was like, oh, it might be tough. No, it's a landslide. It's going really good. I'm pretty sure that there's no opposition forces that can possibly topple it. And, you see me do a Reefer Madness review of the commercial coming out. And yeah, um, no one's buying it. It's total garbage. And one more time, I'm going to go over the fact that legal marijuana is more popular than both of our presidential candidates. So I'm not going to tell you to vote for Hillary or vote for Trump. I'm going to tell you that neither of those people matter. Sure, there's going to be a president, and they're gonna do this and they're going to do that. But I've been covering Hillary pretty hard because she's the Democrat. She's the person that, over on the side of legalizing marijuana, it's always been on the Democratic side. The prohibition side's always been the Republican side. Well, this election, it seems like it's a little bit of a flip. Or if anything else, they're both on the same wavelength of recreational, I don't know, medical, hey, who knows? And that's, pretty much where they're both at. We got Hillary, who was caught on WikiLeaks saying that she's against legalizing marijuana completely. We got Donald Trump, who says he has some problems with the recreational, but who knows? The medical might be good. He's for the medical, and he's for states' rights and this and that. What we really want to do is we want to take marijuana right off of the Controlled Substances Act. So if you're somebody who just stumbled across this clip, look at some of my other clips and look at my DEA phone bake, which is this campaign I'm about to launch. I'm about to be talking about nothing but the DEA phone bake. You're going to get sick of it. But because of the kratom response from the DEA, I feel like we as the marijuana community have no choice but to call the DEA. And if we do this, if we have a coordinated effort to call the DEA leading up to 4/20, 2017, I would say anywhere from a month before April 20th or just starting on April 1st. Just start calling them on April 1st. And for 20 days straight, just call the DEA. Everybody will get a chance to do it. We'll have millions of people call them. And they'll have no choice but to take a serious look at taking marijuana off of the Controlled Substances Act. The kratom community is trying to get, kratom from not being on the CSA or not being Schedule 1 for sure. Well, marijuana is long overdue to get right out of the schedule altogether. There's no reason for it. I mean, what? Because it's slightly intoxicating? This reefer madness has been going on and on and on. And, the real reason, what real reefer madness is? And I'm going to tell you real quick. I'm going to educate the listeners of the Daily Dope Show. You don't get this everywhere else, but you're going to get it from me. Real reefer madness comes from the church. It comes from the state. It comes from anything where you use logic and reason to debunk it. They don't want you smoking marijuana. Marijuana opens your third eye up, and it makes it so that you can clearly see through the bullshit. And that's why the government don't want you smoking marijuana, and that's why the church don't want you smoking marijuana. Is there anybody else that don't want you smoking marijuana? Oh, your parents. I'm sorry. See, I'm not trying to get into those issues, but it's the same answer. People that don't want you to smoke marijuana, it's because they know that it opens your eye up and it makes you see through the bullshit. Marijuana doesn't cause people to run people over. Marijuana doesn't cause promiscuity, permissive behaviors, and just that, that's alcohol. Alcohol is what, every time they try to demonize marijuana, they project it as some kind of a alcohol related thing, which couldn't be further from the truth. Marijuana, the reefer madness that we've been seeing for the last like 80 years is based on the idea that marijuana is something that intoxicates you, when in fact it does not. What it does is it increases your senses and it makes you more aware of what's going on. The only intoxication is the fact that um, your your natural defenses are basically at a standstill because you don't need them. It makes you relax and not worry about things as much. And the paranoia side of it is mainly derived from the fact that it's illegal. All right, I'm done gabbling on and on and on, and I hope you keep watching my videos. I'm seriously thinking about getting real serious about this because this is really a big passion of mine. Um, Go vote. I don't care if you vote for one of those president candidates because Jesus, oh my God, like fucking Hillary or holy shit, Donald Trump. Are you serious? Like I'm not even into either of these people. They're both corrupt liars and they're shitty. So it's the worst presidential election ever. Period. Ever. Fuck this. I'm out of here. Fuck this.